I found everything that just recently happened with Dan Hurley a little bit confusing. So I'm going to go from the beginning here. Shams reports one thing. We trust Woj and Shams, right? They're the information guys. They get all the information. There's two guys. There's no third place. Like whoever's third place, distant third. These are the two information guys we trust. But every once in a while, their information is not the same, and it's weird, and it's never held against either one of them because we know how credible both of them are. But Shams reports that J.J. Redick is the front runner, and there's reporting all over the place that J.J. Redick is picking out his assistant staff, and then J.J. Redick is asked about it, and his response is, I'm not commenting on Shams' report until after the finals because he's respecting the NBA process if nothing gets in the way of the finals. I thought that was confirmation. J.J. Redick is going to be the Lakers coach when he wouldn't comment, didn't deny it, didn't say anything. Then out of nowhere, Dan Hurley appears. I don't know how many people know that Woj wrote a book with Hurley's father. This is a legendary basketball family.
Yes.
Woj is instrumental in the way the Hurley story has been told to America for a long time.
This is a dad who coached at St. Anthony's for 51 years, a high school coaching legend, and both his kids coach as well.
By the way, it was called Me Maximum, the title of that book.
Oh. I'm sure.
Dan Hurley goes, this was a surprise to me. I don't know if it was to the rest of you, but to suddenly hear a report that Dan Hurley, from Woj now, Dan Hurley is the front runner for the Lakers job, even though everyone kind of knows that the Hurleys are about regional basketball greatness. They're about that area of the country and what they represent to that area of the country. And Dan Hurley's wife doesn't want to leave, and everyone's assumed he's going to stay there. But the thing that I found interesting is the Lakers search around for whatever it is that comes with maybe LeBron, maybe not LeBron. But this is top 5 franchise anywhere in American sports, this Laker franchise. They don't get turned down on stuff.
They go through a lot of coaches, though, I'll tell you that. I mean, at least recently.
They do, yes. But the thing that I will tell you again that's not so easy to do, Stugotz, is an Atlanta comes in and flames out, or Sacramento comes in and flames out. How hard it is over different regimes to stay at the top of where the Lakers have been. Always matter, because they've got not just the coach, they've always got the star. But they have to prepare for something now after the star. And I was of the impression from the initial reporting, LeBron's going to choose his coach. He's going to try and get his son there. He's going to be running the Laker franchise because, as Udonis Haslem says, all of this is posturing. He'll never leave L.A. I don't know if you guys saw the live stream of Kevin Hart talking to LeBron James with Drewski. This was last night. One of the things that happened is LeBron was yelling at Kevin Hart, hey, people aren't hearing me say the N-word, right? They didn't hear that, right? And Kevin Hart says, no, I would never do that to you. And the only reason I know it is because it was just done to him. LeBron is deeply California, L.A. now. They are trying to conquer what's left of Hollywood, and Hollywood is in shambles, okay? What's left of Hollywood, because these CEOs don't actually know what they're doing in the modern age with the streaming. They're pretending, but they don't actually know. They are crucifying the entertainment industry. It is brutal. But LeBron's in it. The way Peyton's in it, and he's running all of these meetings where, I want to meet LeBron, I'm 35, I'm a CAA middle manager, I can make deals in this town. And what they're building in Los Angeles is for after basketball, but he's still hugely valuable right now. More valuable to that franchise than it is to him, somehow. When they go after Dan Hurley, my first thought was, does that ever work? Does the college coach doing that ever work? The popular college coach, you really think somebody's got a strategy in college that's going to come into the pros and Popovich isn't going to know what to do against it with Wembanyama? It's going to be, oh no, Dan Hurley's system. It's going to kill like it did in college. Does it ever work?
Larry Brown.
That's your example.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Give me a second one.
I don't have one.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. Because Larry Brown is the example, and he coached everywhere, 50 different teams. But I understand why Dan Hurley's popular. I just don't get the idea that he would come to the pros and be better than everybody else. But then what I didn't get also is you're going to offer him less than Monty Williams? Monty Williams is going to make more in Detroit than this star is going. That's what the Lakers offer is when the coaching salaries have exploded, where Steve Kerr went from, I have no experience, to 5 years, $25 million, and now his extension is $38 million for 2 years. Your offer to try and get the two-time champion seismic hire. We're going to replace LeBron with leadership. Watch what we do here with coaching. The next step is Dan Hurley's going to show us the way. We're going to do it with a coach. You're going to pay him less than Monty Williams?
He would have been, had he accepted the offer, the 8th highest paid coach in the NBA. It tells me, Dan, that the Lakers, for whatever reason, never really wanted him to be the head coach. Because if you really wanted him to be the head coach and you want him to move away from an area of the country where he has spent his entire life and really has given no indication he's ever going to leave that area of the country, then you make him the offer that Woj originally reported, which was north of $100 million.
So you think that they lowballed him intentionally?
That's Stugotz. I don't think any of what he said. No, I don't think the Lakers do this embarrassment because they thought that wasn't going to be enough money. That's Stugotz's opinion, not mine.
So you think then what? That LeBron stepped in and said, nope.
What I'm looking at is I'm confused by what it is that's presently happening, because I think that Dan Hurley had no intention whatsoever of ever leaving that. That is a big public show of how is it that I go ahead and get to the Saban stuff here because I'm in college basketball. I like being in college basketball, and this is a negotiating move. We will hear from him on how tempted he was because he has had this itch. He said before that the ego of trying yourself in the pros is something that calls him. I don't believe that this would be a money decision given that they were already doubling. They were guaranteeing him stuff, and they were doubling his money. I thought the low offer came because nobody seems to understand that the Lakers are a mom-and-pop business, that Jeannie Buss doesn't have other businesses. The fact that that's a great American franchise with that kind of value, I can't believe all of that is still allowed to prosper, given that that's a mom-and-pop store. They don't have other businesses to get money from, so they have to lowball somebody. I don't think the Lakers are what they look like as gloss.
That's what I was going to ask you, Dan, because to me it just kind of seemed like they were being cheap, not that they were trying to intentionally be declined by a college coach, because why that would make them look bad, but so does being cheap, I guess.
It seems to me what would make them look bad is handing J.J. Redick one of the most coveted jobs anywhere in sports. And so I think you have to at least give the appearance that you're going after more qualified candidates, bigger names.
Shams is now reporting that he was never the number one candidate, and I go back to the beginning here. I don't know what's actually true about some of what's happening here, Stugotz, but I will tell you that when the information guys and the coveted people in sports are all wrapped up in getting out there whatever the message needs to be so that we can negotiate in public, what was thrown into the news stream during the NBA Finals, is the big college coach going to the big marquee franchise. The same thing J.J. Redick was trying to avoid because they don't like this getting in the way of things. The story broke and the information's coming differently from the two information guys. And Hurley just got himself a raise. And he just did so with the author of his father's book. That's what just happened publicly, thrown into the media stream.
Does he need the leverage? I'm asking you. Does he need the leverage, really? Like, if he wanted to raise an extension, he could have just asked UConn, right? He's won back-to-back national championships.
How does that one generally go with
I'm
employers?
I'm going to stay here longer than my
asking for more money. Or you show, generally speaking, the way you show your employer your value is by having someone else point out your value.
I'm just asking if he needs leverage. This is a guy who's won back-to-back national championships.
I think it's also fair to ask, is the Lakers' job better than the UConn job right now for him specifically, given his family ties on the East Coast and his history there and the chance to chase history at UConn? The Lakers are kind of a mess right now. They do not seem like a desirable place to go if you're someone with all the job security in the world and a lot of money living in Connecticut. What happens in 2 years when they're bad? You just get fired, and then your previous dream job is not going to be up for you to take anymore.
Well, when you talk about what happens in 2 years, the part that wraps up the whole story, this is a prestige franchise that has helped to build this sport. It gets its stars. It makes its coaches stars when they win. The idea that the Lakers in 2 years would have had either nothing or college coach coaching nothing would make the Lakers far different than what they've been for 40 years in that sport because they always turn it over. And so I ask you about the future of the Lakers. The oldest player in the league controls the entirety of their economy. If LeBron leaves, maybe they build around Anthony Davis, or maybe they send him off and start over, and that's what the plan would have been with Dan Hurley. But it is much less than what it is the Lakers have been for the last 40 years. Like, it's not every year they're in and out of it. When they're in last place, they've still got Kobe's retirement tour. Like, they've always got something.
They find ways to stay relevant.
They've always got something to make the business run. But when you say they've always got ways to stay relevant, what's plan B after LeBron leaves? I ask you. Like, what is it as you look forward to?
Because Bronny.
Stugotz, the part that I'm asking you about is, are you realizing what the difference in paths are when the two information guys are telling you? One of them says the path is Dan Hurley and whatever he's building. The other's J.J. Redick. Those are not the same thing. Like what is the plan for one of the most storied franchises in the history of sports?
But, I mean, Woj wasn't wrong. They offered him a contract. They were going after him.
Well, he was wrong on the dollars, but he wasn't wrong. You're right.
No, wait a minute. I'm not saying, well, how can you be wrong when you're in the middle of creating all of it? Like, what's the...
He created it. He forced the Lakers to offer him a contract. He didn't do that. He reported that he was the target, and then
looks bad here,
they offered him a contract, so he was right about that.
I'm not even saying Woj looks bad here. I'm just showing you how the sausage is made. Look, this is the way the business is now. All of this is changing, and nobody cares about how it is. Does the sausage taste good? These are the two guys who get it done, but they're not. The two guys are... The way that they get their information isn't the way we used to do any of this stuff.
I wonder what we'll do if J.J. Redick turns it down and gets a big raise at ESPN. Yep. What then? Because that would be
everyone using the Lakers as leverage.
Well, how about that one? Jeff Van Gundy, I think, wasn't he told that part of the reason he was let go is because of the dangers of him taking a coaching job? Doc Rivers used that. That's a great position to get a great job.
I would like to announce my candidacy for the Lakers head coaching job as well.
All right.
Remove Le Batard.
Greg Cody needs to apply to replace J.J. Redick on the broadcast.
Yeah, I'm going to let my mustache come in first.
Yes, me maximum.
Better interview, yeah.